Hello. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you how to save your broken relationship without having to hire a lawyer. My promise to you is I'm going to show you how to get out of that painful trap of hurt and disconnection and into a more mutually loving and meaningful relationship with your partner. This material is for anybody who's really struggling in their relationship, but particularly for the couple who is really struggling because early on in their relationship, their passion for each other was hot and they felt such deep desire to be together. And now, when they look at each other, it's ice cold. They have that Nordic ice wind, and the only reason why they are staying together is that they don't want to ruin the lives of their children. Or the man who continually feels blamed for not being a better husband and is confused because he feels like he does a lot to help this family and this relationship out. And so he doesn't understand why his wife is so upset when she feels that he's not where she would like him to be. The couple whose hopes and dreams no longer feel like they're in alignment, and it feels like they are on opposite sides of the planet. And sometimes they consider actually living on opposite sides of the planet because they're not sure how they're going to be able to create a future together. Or the couple who is dealing with betrayal wounds or broken trust, and it feels like neither of them are really going to be able to move on from the past. Those wounds hurt so bad, and so figuring out how to create a new future together seems nearly impossible. Or it can also be for the couple who have not had sex in a really long time for various reasons. And sometimes for them, even the thought of having sex feels like such an overwhelming chore that neither of them really want to. So, if any of those scenarios fit with your experience, then let's continue watching and see what we can do to try and help you. Is conflict or distance giving you everything that you don't want in this relationship? Maybe you are feeling overwhelmed and afraid, and the thought of staying together feels drastic and depressing, but the thought of getting divorced or separated also feels drastic and depressing, and so you really don't know where to go. The problem you think you have is not actually the problem that you have. What you need is the right method, the right formula, the right instruction to help you figure out how to fix this thing, how to make this marriage, this relationship solid. What probably won't help is another relationship book, although believe me, I am a fan of self help books and I love them, and I could give you a stack of relationship books if you want to read them, but applying those principles sometimes can be challenging. What is also not helpful is the advice of well meaning friends and family members who have no expertise in dealing with relationships, and oftentimes their own relationships are struggling just as much as yours are. And so, following their advice often leads to more complications and less support. Some couples I know decide that they're going to go on vacation and just kind of forget about the conflicts of life for a little while. And when they come back from vacation, everything's going to be great. And that usually doesn't happen. I can't tell you how many people have tried that and they end up coming home and filing for divorce. And truthfully, not even couples counseling can always work. There's a lot of couples counselors out there who actually have never been trained in couples counseling, so they don't really know some of the tools and strategies that have been proven to be effective. And I'm not putting counselors down because obviously I'm one of them, but knowing a counselor who's been trained and has had a lot of practice in working with couples using effective strategies is more likely to be of support than finding some random counselor who says that they do couples counseling but really has no training in it. What you need really is a blueprint, a method, and that is what I would like to be able to share with you a little bit. With this map, with this course that I have, the Finding Peace in Relationships course, my goal is that you'll be able to laugh and play together. You'll be able to be heard and validated, and your desire to have that sexual connection will return naturally between you, and you'll find new ways to be together in a fulfilling and safe way. The system that I would like to share with you is the Finding Peace in Relationships coaching program. And in this program, it shows you how to stop living like roommates who sometimes try to just avoid each other and not even talk to each other, and instead flip that around and use simple tools to rebuild connection, passion, and intimacy. A long time ago, when I was barely learning about how to be a social worker, I learned about a theory called Sternberg's love triangle. And there are three main aspects: passion, intimacy, and commitment. Passion is that feeling that a person has when they meet somebody else and they are really excited to get to know that other person. They are drawn to that person. Their heart like flitter flutters when they see them. They get excited. And it can be sexual excitement, but it also can be platonic excitement, like the passion of seeing your best friend and being really excited to see that person. So, passion doesn't always mean sex, but in relationships, that is usually something that's part of the dynamics and the recipe for attraction is that passion for each other. Then there's intimacy. And intimacy has often been defined as seeing into each other, opening your heart and letting the other person see into who you are, some of your hopes and dreams and fears and all of those things, and vice versa. And then at the bottom is commitment, that there is a commitment to be in this relationship. Now, if you were just going to score yourself on a scale of 0 to 10 right now today, how much would you rate the level of passion that exists in your relationship with your partner on 0 to 10? How much would you rate the level of intimacy that exists between you and your partner right now? And how much would you rate your level of commitment to each other? Now, there's some really big ahas or red flags, I think, if your passion and intimacy is really low, but your commitment is high. It's not necessarily bad because you have a commitment to each other, which we can build on that. But there's a lot of work to do with that. If all three of your scores are low, I the class may be helpful for you, to be honest, but it may be past the point of no return. I can't say because I don't know your particular relationship. I can tell you that divorce is painful. It's painful and emotionally taxing and financially expensive and lots of broken hearts along the way. So if there's a way to avoid that, then I would like to help you. Let me share with you three secrets that make relationships work. Number one, passion and intimacy are not the same thing. One of the interesting things about particularly passion and intimacy is you'll notice that they are on opposite sides of the triangle. They are not necessarily the same. They are actually very different. Passion involves mystery. Passion involves being able to figure things out and to be excited about the unknown. Now, I'm not talking about secrets, but I'm talking about mystery and learning more, which leads to the intimacy side where we learn more. But one of the challenges that often happens with a couple is that the more that they learn about each other, the faster the passion dies. And so part of that is figuring out how to continue to create more mystery and magic in the relationship, which is a challenge, especially when you have a bunch of kids running around and you have laundry to do and dinner to put on the table and financial burdens all around. That's really hard to do that. Well, we're going to talk about some ways to create that in the course. And then intimacy it's also really important to be able to figure out how to come together and build a relationship with each other in ways that maybe you haven't done that before. Secret number two: love is a series of emotional connections of care and support. Dr. Barbara L. Fredrickson says within each moment of loving connection, you become sincerely invested in this other person's well being simply for his or her own sake. These exchanges of love are like food. We need multiple experiences of love every day in order to remain healthy. And so you'll hear a concept in the class about the emotional love tank. It needs to be filled all the time. Can't go without it not being filled. So it isn't a one time thing. It's not one thing that we do every day that conveys love to the other partner. It's something that we need to find ways to do continually every day. The four behaviors that really will smack all of that away and create coldness, will create barriers and walls, are what I call the burpees. Burpees are an exercise that you may be familiar with where you jump up and then you get down and you do a push up and then you jump up and you do another one. I hate burpees. I know a buddy who thinks they are the greatest thing on earth. I think he's crazy because burpees and me, we're not friends. I do not like them. Ugh. Well, burpees in a relationship are just as painful and they will destroy connection pretty fast. B stands for blame. When I am blaming my partner, pointing out all their faults and defects and all the things that they're doing wrong, that's not going to build intimacy and that's not going to build passion. And it may actually destroy that commitment as well. Because the other person, when they feel that, they become guarded and they feel pain with being accused of things. And sometimes it may be true what they're being accused of, but being accused doesn't really feel good. R stands for rescue. Oftentimes in a relationship, we see that there is distress going on, we see that there's pain going on, and so we then try to tell the other person how to solve their problem. Well, if you just do it this way, then the problem will be resolved. If you do what I say, then everything will be fine. Or you end up doing it for them. And we do that not necessarily out of altruistic kindness. We don't do it for that. It's because we are really uncomfortable and we don't like how we feel. And so if you could just fix your life, then I'll be fine. So how about you fix your life and then I'll be fine. So just do what I tell you to do and then we'll be good. Rescuing also does not promote intimacy and it does not promote passion. It can promote codependency, which is not intimacy at all. P stands for protest. And protest is like when you see those people on strike standing outside of their place of business and they got their signs and they're saying this isn't fair and we should be treated better and we need higher wages or all those kind of things. That's basically what protest is like. It's like, I don't feel like I'm being treated fairly in this relationship, but I feel really powerless to do anything about it. So I'm just going to whine and complain about it. This isn't right and I don't like it and I can't do anything about it and this isn't fair and why is this happening and that kind of protest. So we can blame, it's all your fault, or we can play victim by protesting, but neither of those are going to build passion and intimacy in the relationship. And lastly, when any of those three are going on, we might do E, which is escape. I'm wanting to get out of there. I don't want to be there anymore. I want to check out. This feels so freaking uncomfortable that I don't like it at all. So I just want to get out. If you're doing any of those four burpees in your relationship, the truth is you're probably going to be trapped in a cycle because the more that you do one of those, the higher the likelihood that your partner is going to do one of them right back. And then instead of resolving the conflict and figuring out what's really going on, you get stuck in the cycle where you just keep pushing each other and hurting each other and doing these kind of things until both of you finally check out because it's too overwhelming. That sounds awful. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to have a much more positive experience. a much more beautiful experience together. And secret number three, love does not last. Now, you probably remember the time that you very first met your partner and you began to fall in love. You looked in their eyes and you thought they were the most beautiful, wonderful person. And every time you saw them, your heart would pitter patter and there would be a ton of joy going on. And then you decided that this was going to be great and we're going to make this a permanent thing. We're going to be serious. We're going to be mutually exclusive to each other. We're not going to do anything anymore. And so you then think, wow, this is it. We are going to be in love forever. It's kind of like you sitting down to an all you can eat buffet and thinking, wow, look at all this food. This is amazing. It's so good. This is the last time I'm ever going to eat a meal because it's just so good. It don't work like that. And so love doesn't last forever. Love is a verb as much as it is a feeling. And so there are things that we need to do every day to foster love and compassion for each other. There are three steps, simple steps to help you improve your relationship. Step one is register for the Finding Peace in Relationships class. And then every week, you're going to get some small little videos just like this one, where you're going to have some training and you're going to get some homework assignments, which leads right into step two, which is to do the homework assignments. A lot of those are journaling or practicing with your partner or practicing with somebody else using some tools so that you get a little bit better about it. And then step three is every week we meet live as a whole group and I go over the training that you've learned and figure out where you got stuck. Were there any places along the way where you two got stuck that I can help you get unstuck? And yes, I know that it's in a group setting and some people are a little bit uncomfortable being there as a group, but I'm telling you that I have done this multiple times with multiple couples. And the power of being able to watch another couple do their work and the learning that takes place is profound. And it also helps you feel like you're not the only one who's struggling in the relationship. Because oftentimes we think, well, I'm the only one. We are the only ones I know who are struggling in the relationship. And it's just frankly not true. So you learn that you're not alone and you learn how to get some more support. So it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I highly, highly recommend it. One of the problems that people have in dealing with these relationships is that they feel like they can figure this out on their own. They're going to go read a book, they're going to listen to a podcast or something, and they're going to just try to figure it out on their own. And for a lot of us, that doesn't work very well. If you want to become better at something, oftentimes you hire a coach to help you get better. If you want to learn how to improve in your sports game or learn how to hit a golf ball a little bit better or play the piano a little bit better or learn how to make a cake better or whatever those things are you're going to do, you usually go take a class. You learn from somebody who can teach you how to improve those skills. So it fascinates me all the time that when it comes to relationships, we think, well, we can just figure it out ourselves. And that doesn't work that well. Consider this. How much is it going to cost you to live in an unhappy relationship? Well, financially, I'll tell you that it costs about $2,000 at most at the beginning to go to a couples therapist, especially one who's even half decent. But the statistics for traditional marriage therapy are not great. A lot of people feel very disappointed by the time they're done with traditional marriage counseling because they're not using the right kind of tools. So just the cost of going to couples counseling all by itself can be profound. And part of the reason why I do this class is so you have some tools and strategies that actually expedite your ability to do things in couples counseling that are so it won't take as long. So it reduces the long-term costs. Also think about the cost of divorce. In the United States right now, the average cost of divorce is about $30,000 for a couple. That's a lot of money after legal fees and all those things. So this class is a whole lot cheaper than $30,000. So what is the financial cost that it's taking to not repair your relationship? What are the emotional costs that you're dealing with not fixing this relationship? Being angry all the time, being resentful, being lonely, being scared, being nervous. How does that affect your ability to show up every day, to be there for your kids, to be a good employee, to serve your clients and your customers? How does that the painfulness of your relationship impact all the other dynamics of your life? How does it affect the relationship with your partner itself? What are the costs of not learning how to resolve this that are happening? And then finally, what are the health costs? Fascinating research has shown that people who are lonely and disgruntled and unhappy in their relationships have a higher propensity towards getting heart attacks or strokes. So the cost health wise of having an unhappy relationship can be just as profound. So the good news is that you don't have to stay where you're at. You can improve your situation. You can learn how to improve your relationship. You can learn some research backed strategies and tools to be able to deal with the conflict in your marriage and come closer to connection, love, and joy, and happiness, and all those things. And I want to help you fix it. So really, you have two options right now. You can continue to try to do it all by yourself, which I wish you the best with that, and I hope that you are able to be successful. Or you can get help from somebody who's had over 25 years of experience working with relationship conflict and learning some great and amazing tools who can help fast track you to a happier marriage and a happier relationship. If we work together, you are going to learn tools to break free of the death spiral of conflict without having to live in separate bedrooms all the time. You'll learn how to create safety without having to use threats and ultimatums. And you'll also learn how to build a stronger relationship without having to call a lawyer. So if any of those sound like things that you would want, I would totally welcome you to sign up for the class. The next class is coming soon. If it's too late to register for the upcoming class, then please put your name on the list and we'll let you know when the next class starts. We only do this about 2 or 3 times a year, so space is limited, and it's something that I think, obviously I'm a little biased, but I've watched how it's changed relationships, and I've watched the joy and happiness that has come from couples who use the tools and come closer together. And I want that to be you too. So I will see you soon. Be kind to yourself.